right, guys, welcome to another episode of Dr. Decks podcast. Today, I have a special guest, Mr. Ryan Guidry?
Yeah, that's it.
Ryan Guidry from InLight, and Ryan, explain to us what your title is with InLight and what you do for that company.
Sure. I'm the business development manager at InLight, or one of our business development managers. I was the first to be hired when the company came direct into North America, so the first U.S. hire for the company, which is it was an exciting time to join, still is an exciting time to be a part of the company, as we're a growing one. So I'm basically responsible for building upon the business, building upon existing partnerships we have, such as with yourself, Jason, and bringing on new distribution partners to help get some more products out. So I handle basically the majority of the Western United States, with a special emphasis on the West Coast, California, and the Pacific Northwest.
Okay. Yep, that's right up my alley, man.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Awesome. Okay, so tell me a little bit about what was like did you grow? You're in California, correct?
Yeah. Born and raised Southern California. So grew up in Orange County, if you're familiar.
I am.
Yeah. So I went to Cal State Fullerton for school. Kind of went to the school districts around in the area, and then started working while I was still in school for a lighting company, a lighting technologies company called Ushio America, a Japanese light, more on the light technologies other than your standard light bulbs sort of thing, stuff you'd use around the house. We didn't make too many of, but we did it at some point. For them, I started doing entertainment lighting for about 5 years or so within the company. So I worked, a majority of my time was spent in Los Angeles, in the greater LA area, because I was selling products used for majority of the time film production, TV production, studio shots, still shots, things like that. I sold lighting, light technologies, light fixtures, light bulbs for that. I joined that company at a pretty interesting time because it was right on the onset of LED technology. Right. So the company itself was shifting from a halogen-based focus with the old lamp styles, old lamp technology, to an LED style. And the company, Ushio, had brought on lighting fixtures, ones they didn't really make themselves, but acted as a sort of the North American distribution arm for those manufacturers. So it was a very interesting time as the company kind of shifted direction just as I came on board. But I got to be a part, or help a little bit with that shift and bringing on something new. And I think it sometimes helps to have somebody new or fresh on the team when you're doing something new like that, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, that's interesting, because that was going to be one of my questions. I was going to say analog lights, but halogen lights. I mean, we all, if you had a business in the 90s, you don't touch those bulbs, man.
You burn the crap.
Do not even when and don't get your finger oil on them, because you're going to burn out the life of them faster. There was a special way that you had to install certain types of lights. Even in deck lighting, some of the old TimberTech lights were all halogen bulbs. 10,000 hours. Ooh, we got a 10,000 hour bulb. But if you touch it, you just reduced it by less than half,
Oh, yeah.
So you had to wear gloves or use tissue or something like that to put them in.
Some of the ones that I would sell, they're called HPL lamps, and they would go into spotlights that you would see, or you would see when you go to the theater, right, and go see a play, something like that. And those would literally explode if you
cool.
had oil, from your fingers on them, and because they would get way upwards of 100 degrees. I mean, you've seen it in movies before too, where a light kind of blows out above the stage. That is a movie effect, because it comes from actuality, right? It comes from that stuff actually happened. So
Hey, just go, take some oil off your nose and stick it on the bulb.
yeah.
In 43 minutes and 10 seconds, it's going to explode.
I'm a sweaty dude, so they don't even let me in the theater.
It won't last that long.
Yeah.
So where did you grow up? Like, where was your childhood based out of?
In Orange County, so in like the Fullerton area, Anaheim. Yeah, if you're super familiar with the area, Placentia was my kind of hometown.
Not that close. I spent a little tiny bit of time in Orange County and Pacific Beach area and things like that, but not a ton. But it's an amazing area to be in.
It's beautiful.
I can see why people that grow up there, they really don't want to leave. It's like, why would I go anywhere else if I'm already, used to this place? Because it's kind of hard to. You're already used to it. You're used to the high prices. You're used to the gas prices. You're used to, the real estate being so expensive, and you just kind of work around those things.
Yeah, exactly. And
That's awesome.
my folks got in probably at a good time. I think in the '90s it was a little bit easier, right? To get in, something. And I'm down in San Diego these days, as you know. So,
Oh yeah,
yeah.
that's
so
a nice area.
About when was it? 2021? Yeah, it was 2021. So 4 years ago. Well, 4 years ago at this point. Moved down here with my now fiance, who went to law school down here. So we were living for a short while in LA. And then when she got accepted and school resumed in person, right? If we're remembering back then, then we all we decided to move down here together and have been in the place since. And we love it. I mean, it's beautiful, right? The weather.
Yeah, it's an amazing place. I spent some time. I was working in Temecula for a while on some tract homes back in the early '90s, and it was a booming town back then. I mean, there were just hundreds and hundreds of tract homes going in, and tract homes, excuse me. And I was on a trim crew, so we would bust our butts all week. And then on the weekends, one of my stepbrother had a apartment in Pacific Beach. So we'd drive down to Pacific Beach, and he was a few blocks off the beach, and then we would just go hang out at the beach all weekend.
Oh, yeah.
And I was just taking all the money I was making, and all I do is buy beer with it. So it wasn't really conducive to my lifestyle to stay there. But it was fun. It was a beautiful place, and man, it had a really great vibe.
Was it still, really great vibe. Was it a college town back then? Like the PB Pacific Beach area for us it gets pretty wild out there.
Yeah, I mean, they were burying kegs on the beach and volleyball, and just everybody. It was just a full-on kegger party every day.
Right.
Any day I was down there, it was basically the same. Lots of beautiful people just hanging out. A lot of surfers, boogie boarders, and it was so funny because I ended up running into somebody I knew from Tucson. I was in Tucson, and then I went to Pacific Beach, and then I ended up in Reno, and that's where I met my wife Kiki. But I'm always fond of that area. I really do like it. It's beautiful. So like you went to elementary school, junior high and high school. What was that like for you?
Yeah, it was kind of a funny transition because they're all in I could walk to each one, right? In Orange County. So they're like catty corner to each other, basically, all within a few miles, right? So that was nice at the time. And then you get out of high school, and then I went to Cal State Fullerton, as I mentioned, and that I could bike to, right, in 10 minutes.
Oh, wow.
So it was almost like, I never left high school, kind of a thing.
Sure.
Right? Because it's just like, it's kind of the same people, same thing, same place I'm living. I'm not going anywhere. And that was probably a little bit of a hindrance. Took me a little bit longer than it should have to get out of undergrad, because I just, wasn't taking it too seriously. And
easy transition, really.
Yeah.
Right. So in high school, were you into academics or sports or crafts?
In high school.
Did you?
Yeah, it wasn't any good, but I did it all 4 years.
Well, okay, so let's get some physical parameters. You're a big guy, so how tall are you?
6'3".
6'3", and how much do you weigh now?
A lot more than I did back then, but I did.
What were you wrestling at?
I was wrestling at like 195. That was the weight class. I wrestled that throughout the majority of the year, and then I had and then I wrestled between that and 220, and then we had two guys on our team that were CIF champions, that
Mm.
either went up to my weight or down to my weight. So it was like I got to wrestle those two weights throughout the year.
Mm-hmm.
But then when it came down to for like season finals, and okay, this is good, the weight you're going to be for like finals, and then go to masters and state meet and all that kind of stuff, I got bumped up to heavyweight because I couldn't beat
Oh,
those two guys that were really good on the team. So
yeah.
it was which was fine, and so I didn't place in CIF my senior year, having to jump up because those guys were real 260, 280 pounds, and I
Sumo, dude.
was
Like
like,
dude, if you walked into a dude and he was all muscle at 260,
yeah,
yeah, man, you're in trouble.
right. Oh yeah.
And you're 200 pounds.
Yeah,
I
it was
mean,
back then,
that
right?
is, dude, that is crazy.
Hmm.
That is wow, man. I mean, that must have been a little bit intimidating, but that's really cool that you went in and you were all in, man,
Yeah, did it.
and made it happen.
You can't walk away your senior year just because that's
No,
the
man.
hand you're dealt, right?
No, that's good sportsmanship. That builds character. You know,
Yeah.
that's probably something that you still have a good
Mhm.
value installed in you. You know,
Yeah, there's a lot of pride in that. I think there's
right on.
I forget who said it, but there's a quote, pretty famous quote. It's like, once you've wrestled, everything else is easy, and that's true to some extent in terms of like I'll probably never have to go through as much physical work as I did during those
Yeah,
years.
it's sheer
Right?
exhaustion, man.
Yeah.
I wrestled in my ninth grade year
Hmm.
in junior high school until I got my finger slammed in a locker. I had my hand up on the thing, and somebody just shut the locker on my hand and just tore my middle fingernail in half.
Oh, geez.
Aside, not longwise, half the other way, like
Right. So half of this thing is missing,
perpendicular to my middle finger, and I'm in the nurse's office with a big bag of ice on my finger, and the coach walks in and he's like, "What are you doing in here?" And I showed him. He's like, "Ugh,
yeah.
that's not gonna work." I'm like, "No."
No, it's not.
So that was the end of my wrestling, but that's an admirable sport, man. You got to be in peak physical condition to be doing that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay. Anything else in high school that
I did band growing up a little bit, like in junior high, and I did it my freshman year of high school. I kind of like did it because my mom wanted me to do it.
what did you play?
The baritone, which is like a mix between a tuba and a trumpet.
Okay.
So it's like right in
Cool.
between those sizes. Kind of, it's a deeper sound, but it's a brass instrument.
All right.
And I really enjoyed it in middle school. It was fun, and you got to go to Disneyland, and you suck because you're 12 years old, so they send you during the day, right, during the weekday when nobody's there, and it's an awesome time for you. And then you're a little bit better in high school, and then they send you on a Saturday, and you're like, oh, I can't even do anything. Why am I even here? Because there's long lines everywhere.
Yeah. Give me a master pass or the golden pass or whatever pass it was to get you
go
through
back
the front
with the
of the
middle
line.
school kids and get back to the open
right.
park. Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
But we did the high school did the Rose Parade my freshman year, so that we knew they were going to do that, and I was like, I really want to see you do the Rose Parade, so I did it kind of for her, kind of a thing. But I was so bad, Jason, at my instrument, right, at the baritone, that they decided, we've got enough baritones here, Ryan, hold this tuba and pretend like you're playing as you walk down the street
and just wave to your mom.
yeah, exactly, just look good. And you know what, it worked. I was on TV for a couple of seconds there.
Hey.
I'd look good. Looked
right
like
on.
I was playing, so it worked.
Yeah, you sold it.
It worked.
Sold it.
Yeah.
Nice. That's awesome. Okay, and then okay, so then you graduate high school, and you go to college, and you said it's really close, so you're able to just like live at home,
Right.
then, and just bicycle to the college.
Yeah.
And where you lived, like there wasn't many bad days, like.
No.
It's all sunny and 70, right?
Like 10 a day or 10 a year,
Yeah. How nice is that? Right. And so, what was college like for you? Did you know what you were gonna master? What was your like topic or master's gonna be?
Yeah, I do. I have a bachelor's in business administration, so just a regular old BA, and I knew that's what I wanted to do because I didn't know what I wanted to do. You know what I mean?
Okay.
I knew that if I get this degree, this is going to cover me for going into sales, marketing, really general, a lot of general business aspects. And so if I had this is a backup to allow me to dip my feet into whatever, and I should be okay when I come out the other
Okay.
side. And that was
So
the idea, anyways.
so can I get a perspective on your age?
Mm-hmm.
So how old are you now?
30.
Okay. So you're pretty young.
Mm-hmm.
Now
That doesn't feel good.
what?
I'm,
Calvin's
I'm 31.
Calvin's
Look where
31.
you're
Yeah.
at, bro.
No, yeah. I
Yeah,
mean,
he's old.
hey,
Not me though.
Hey now, I'm in control here. I can make you
Yeah,
sound
yeah.
real bad.
yeah. Calvin rules.
I can mix
the
your
roost here.
sentences up.
Okay, so you graduated in what year?
In high school in 2013, from Cal State Fullerton, I finally finished in 2021. Actually, the year I moved down here in San Diego, because they were still
Okay.
doing online classes. So I did the last of my
Oh,
classes
so
here.
what was that kind of like? You were like
was
in you're in college,
Yeah.
and then COVID hit, and then COVID came, and
You know, I feel really bad for some other folks. Me, not so much, because within 2 years of starting at Cal State Fullerton, I was working basically full time, a minimum of 30 hours a week, right?
for
'Cause
that lighting company.
yeah, I did a couple odd jobs. I was made pizzas in the back of a restaurant for a little while.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, that
Are
was,
you a good pizza maker?
I was, yeah, back in the day.
I mean, if you wanted to whip up a pizza, like you could just go to the store and grab some stuff and like come home and like make something
Yeah.
pretty good.
The only thing you need that even we did is we bought, dough bags. We'd make the dough in house, but the actual flour mixture for pizza dough, they had purchased that. They had bought that. They didn't make their own, like with flour and everything else. So that's the only thing I'd want to buy. Everything else, or not make from scratch, you know what I mean? But everything else, yeah, I could do. When I met my
Because
fiance, that was our first date. It's like, rather than take her to the restaurant I used to work for, I went and said, hey, Jorge, can I get, just some raw dough? And I took the dough back and I made a
you
pizza.
sold her.
Yeah.
You sold her on food. That's pretty
Yeah,
good.
right?
That's a
Thinking
smooth
ahead,
move.
you know?
Yeah, guys, better listen to that one because that's a good one, man. So that struck me because like I used to do a couple I've done boblies in the past, right? But I think if for you to be able to take like some scratch and just crank out a pizza, like a really good pizza, like, hey, that was really good, man. You got to know the sauce. You got to, even if you store bought everything and you still compiled something and baked it right.
Yeah.
I think there's a little bit of an art form to that, right?
I think you're right. I don't think you're off the money or anything like that. I will say though, eat a bad home cooked pizza is probably going to be better than one of the better, frozen ones you pick up at the store and throw in the oven.
Yeah, man, 100%. Like in the outdoor kitchen realm right now is so hot. Like a lot of people are doing these pizza stone ovens and things like that, or hybrid gas wood fired pizza ovens. And I'm like, man, as many meals as I've cooked outdoors, I don't think I've ever cooked a pizza. Even though I can on my green egg, I have a pizza stone for my green egg.
Right.
I've never done it. So I find that very interesting, like that would be a really cool thing to be able to do. Okay, so you did your pizza job.
Yeah.
And then you're doing your college thing, and then when did you get into the lighting part of it?
So my dad came to me. He still works for Ushio, that Japanese lighting company, and he told me that there's a position opening up. At the time, I had basically just left the pizza place and started working at this like basically a call center, right? And I was only there for a few months, but he said, there's an opportunity, probably should look into it. I think it was less money than I was making at the call center, but it led to a career sort of a thing. And so I came around. He bugged me for a few weeks about it, and so I finally came around and then joined the company. And I had known my boss at the time in the entertainment division, had been with the company a long time, knew my dad real well, and I had even like played paintball with him as a
cool.
younger kid and stuff, so I knew him kind of well. And then long story short, 8 years there. before I moved on, and I'm now working with InLight.
So paintball.
Yeah.
I've never played,
Oh, really?
but I've watched these guys, and they've got this like dual finger thing going on, and they're just like semi-automatic weapons, or fully automatic almost. Like they're so good with the trigger. Is that something that you enjoyed as in your youth, or what?
It was really fun. It was a good time too. Yeah, I definitely enjoyed it. And again, my dad kind of got us all into it. And to get a picture of my dad, he's one of those guys that he finds a new hobby every few months or a few years, depending on his interest in the hobby. But once he's got that hobby, he's all in. Right. He's the smartest guy in the room about the hobby, knows everything about it, and has dove head first. So, let's call it February, right, of whatever year. February we start out. He's like, I found paintball. It's kind of cool. I'm gonna get us these guns, and we're gonna play this little pump action guns, right? Single pump fire, pump fire kind of a thing, right? And quick tangent, we get those, and we're living in Anaheim Hills at the time, kind of like a little bit more spacious area, closer to like Irvine type of area. And we're playing with those pump action guns in this little field area, kind of near some homes, but in like a little ravine. So we're not going to accidentally hit a home. There's no way. But I think some people heard, and long story short, they call the cops. And so I'm like 10 or 12 years old or something like that. My little brother's like 8 or 6, and we're playing, and these cops come down with their guns drawn.
Oh no!
Put down the weapons,
So that's hilarious, because in the bonus episode we do, I ask every guest one question, and it sounds like you already answered mine. Okay, we'll get back to that in the bonus. Okay, yes, Calvin's keeping me focused on. I'm a little bit of a dog. Sometimes I'm like squirrel, and I'm like,
oh, me too. I'm all over the place.
Yeah, but I love it. I love it. That's what makes this podcast fun. Is that we first start out like we could talk all hour just about Ryan.
Yeah.
We might not even talk about InLight. Sorry, Jurgen.
That's cool.
That'll come later.
Yeah. We've got lots of time to talk about.
I talk about them plenty on social media. So
yeah, exactly.
So, let's hop back on the track.
Yeah. Okay. Calvin's like, let's go, Dad.
No,
all right,
to answer your question though, you're talking about the pump, the pump action, but the tool.
Yeah.
So we go from, and we'll come back to that story, but we go from the pump actions. Like I said, that was February. April or so, my dad's got one of those, and he takes it into work and gets somebody on the IT team to like build an auto fire into it so he can just hold it, kind of a thing. It just goes, he probably he put a few $1,000s, I would imagine, and
you probably had your own CO2 tanks to fill your own cartridges, right?
I think if he could legally get one, it probably would have. It's like, it's saving money at the end,
Oh, absolutely. We gotta, I always wanted, I have nitrous bottles on my chopper.
Yeah.
And I have a purge kit. So 2 of them are turned on to nitrous, and 2 of them are actually for effects. So it blows nitrous smoke out the side of the bike. And then there's these blue lights. So at night it blows like a blue fog out.
Oh, cool.
But they're only 2-pound bottles, so you only get 1 or 2 squirts out of it, and then they're empty.
Right.
So the first thing I do is I always just goof off and blow off all the nitrous out of my tanks. So I'm like, man, I got to get my own nitrous refilling station, because then I could and I'm like, honey, I go to my wife. She usually supports everything I ask, like for our business, hydraulics, machines, and things like that. But I went to her. I was like, do you think I could get my own nitrous filling station? And she kind of looked at me like, do you really need that? And I'm like, no, I don't need it, but I really want it. So I think she approved it, but I just never ended up getting the final. I never got around to it.
Oh, okay.
Because the bottles are kind of big, and they invert. It's kind of interesting how they do that. They're just inverted on a stand, and then you just hook up your little nitrous bottle in 2 seconds, and it's filled.
Right. Yeah.
And then you got to stick it back on the motorcycle. But anyway, okay. All right. So you guys did paintball.
Yeah. Yeah. That's
all right.
A throwback.
Okay. Cool. And then by that time, were you graduate? You hadn't graduated.
No, I mean, we played. I think I stopped playing a decent amount of baseball before I graduated high school, and probably before
Okay.
I was well into high school. So that was kind of
Hmm.
like a middle school before and then shortly after kind of a thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So then you're in college. Okay. Okay. Back to pizza. Back to
Yeah.
pizza. Okay.
There we go.
So we got the pizza job. You're making pizzas.
Mm,
Then you got the job,
the call center for a
the
couple
call center.
months. Yeah.
What was that like?
That was interesting. I played like a lot of games at that in that time of my life, a lot of computer games, and I went.
So what year is it? What year is this?
This must have been like 20 let's call it 2015 or so. Yeah,
Okay.
2015, 2016 must have been like
Hmm.
that, right around there. And I had been working for the pizza guys for a couple years, and then a guy I knew through one of the games said, "I'm opening up this call center." And basically, what it was signing people up for the debt relief programs, student debt relief programs
Oh.
that are available through like FAFSA and through it's really was a part of Obamacare actually
Okay. All
that got
right.
it all put in. And then I realized pretty quickly after starting to work there that it was basically pretty shady. It was
Hmm.
this was things people could do on their own, and we're charging them like $500 for them for it. Obviously targeting people that are very stressed about money in a very
Sure.
deep financial hole, and not really helping them. So once I
Mm.
started doing a couple calls where I had walked somebody through how to do it themselves, I
Hmm.
realized that what am I doing here? Right.
Yeah.
Instead of me making commission and things like that, I'm just, I'm not making the money. I'm not making the company money. And, at least I feel good about myself, but this is a non-start for me. Right. Once I
Right.
realized what was
Right.
going on. And
Good for you.
thankfully that was about when that opportunity with Ushio came up. I said, yeah,
Okay.
I'll take that, and I left within a week, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now Ushio, is that a Asian or Japanese based
Japanese,
company?
yeah. So it's a Japanese. Ushio America is the company, but Ushio Inc. is the mothership. We have
Hmm.
a U.S. arm of the company,
Hmm.
and then it's predominantly in Asia and a little bit in Europe as well. They do some manufacturing and some specialty bulbs into Europe.
So were you mostly like doing movie sets and things like that, you said, or was it?
Yeah, on the entertainment side, it was the products I was selling were being sold to basically production companies or studios.
Okay.
They would buy it. They would either buy it, or I worked through distributors as well, that would have it on the shelf. And a lot of them, if they were in that kind of Burbank area, is where a lot of the studios are,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
They would rent a lot of the equipment from that particular customer. That industry was hurt really, really bad, right, during the pandemic,
Hmm. Hmm.
considerably. And it honestly, I've got a few contacts in that industry too, and they haven't seen a recovery yet to the level that they were in 2019.
And some of the writer strikes too that went on for like months on end. That
Yeah.
had to halted production on a lot of movie sets and things like that as well.
Yeah.
Did it not?
Oh, it absolutely did. It was kind of, I
Yeah.
really felt bad for my original boss. By that time I was moved in a different division within the company,
Hmm.
but
Hmm.
that poor guy, it was one thing after another. It was like first, like, and the timeline wise, it's like, okay, Halogen's dead.
Yeah.
We did so much, majority of our business in this sort of lamp technology. The mothership never really invested in LED technology as a replacement. So now you don't get any of the switchover revenue. It's all still, even today, I think they're still selling the halogen primarily, or their own fixtures. So it's like goes from, okay, now your core technology is dying, right? And then
Oh
you
man.
can't even make movies or do productions anymore. Oh, now you can, but now the people doing it don't want to do it anymore. So
Just
all
the
within 5 something years. Right?
Yeah, and just the amount of money you can save running LEDs over a halogen bulb.
Mhm.
I could imagine if you're using a lot of lighting, just the energy savings alone can be
Yeah,
substantial.
right.
Were,
And
were you guys supplying anything to any grow operations or anything like that?
yeah, A ton.
Were you
So
really?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah. Or
Wow. See.
tomato lights, right?
Yeah. Tomato lights.
Tomato lights. Um,
Sure.
the unfor I so I when I switched divisions, I started working with the another Ryan within the company, Ryan Olson, and he was in charge of their horticulture division. And we both started working in this new UV division, but he still managed a little bit of the horticulture. And
Mm-hmm.
and basically, what California did is they put LED laws in place, and they've done this before with other light technologies. So there are certain like halogen or tungsten bulbs that you cannot buy and ship to California.
Hmm.
I'm not sure if Washington or anywhere else in the Pacific Northwest also has similar laws or not. I'd imagine if you don't, you will soon, kind of a thing. But so like those laws, California said you can't use high pressure sodium lamps, which is typically what they use in grow operations, as is this high pressure sodium that basically ignites to create a specific spectrum of light of and when you look at light, basically you're looking almost like a UV IR spectrum, and so you need a little bit of UV and a little bit into the IR, so you need these kind of deep purples and deep reds if you're looking at it from like the visible scale, just outside the visible scale of light. And so that's what particularly marijuana plants really like, is that spectrum.
Hmm.
So we had some really good lamp technologies for that, and that was actually, those products were developed in Europe actually. um, but same thing, where Ushio, because it's Japanese company, they have very different policies when it comes to marijuana, right? They look
Hmm.
at it like, where in the U.S. it's predominantly a recreational drug, right? At this point, it's that at that federal one level, basically coke, meth, right? It's all the same out there. So they took a stance like, we're not going to specifically invest in light technologies for grow operations, even though we're really good at it. And so they didn't introduce any sort of LED replacements or anything like that. And when California put in that law, they had forecasted less than $1 million that year. That division they did over four, almost 5 million in sales that year, because it was like, that was the last time any grow operation out here was going to be able to buy the Uchiho bulb, right?
Hmm.
And have it shipped within California. So they exploded, right? And then the law went into place, and it goes from under 1 million to 5 million to like 500,000 or something like that,
Hmm.
right? So
Hmm.
so that division within the company, unless since I've left, they've started to reintroduce some technologies. Is probably not much to them anymore. So it's really interesting to see how the regulatory environment really heavily affects lighting technology manufacturers, especially those that are building products for use in either manufacturing or processing.
Okay. So how did that transition into working with InLight?
So, after about 5 years of working in their entertainment division and handling the LA territory, I had worked with a guy on the team, actually the one I mentioned, the horticulture director, and the company was starting this new division around a what's called far UVC technology, and you've probably heard of UV disinfection
Mm-hmm.
technology, or
Mm-hmm.
UVC, right? Which is the bandwidth of UV that is not naturally occurring in our
Mm-hmm.
environment. It is generated by the sun, but the ozone layer absorbs this specific range of UV, and it's very effective at killing pathogens. It's also usually pretty harmful to people, right? UVB and especially UVA is what travels the deepest within the skin, and that's what causes skin cancers and things like that. So the company had developed, in partnership with Columbia University, a far UVC light module. And this far UVC was a very narrow bandwidth around 222 nanometers, or 222. And that they discovered had the same antimicrobial properties as UVC, while being unable to penetrate the outermost layer of the skin or the tear layer of the eye. So it was completely safe for people. So that started right on in 2020, and I joined the company right during the onset of the pandemic. So we were, gosh, that was the busiest time I think I've ever had in my life. Just, 10 calls a day, multiple introductory presentations to people a day about the technology. It was just super hot. Everybody wanted it. The issue was, as it usually is, the regulatory environment, the laws around these technologies always lag behind the technology itself and the science, right? You need proven, years of proven actual studies before laws can change. So by the time that we had put in the work to change the laws around far UV, the pandemic was at its tail end, and people stopped caring. Right. So it was just one of those things that, if we were 2 years earlier with the technology and more important, the regulatory environment, I don't know. I might be, you might be building a deck for me right now, Jason, kind of a thing. I would probably be sitting very pretty, but it just lagged behind, and the timing wasn't there. And so it was a lot of groundwork, a lot of legwork just to generate interest towards the end of the pandemic when people kind of stopped caring, and it became much more of a long-term play for the company. And unfortunately, my career, growth, what I wanted to see, no longer aligned with what was likely going to happen at that company. And so an opportunity came up. I updated my resume. A headhunter reached out to me, who connected me with Alex, our CEO at InLight. Had a few conversations with him, learned a little bit more about the company. And as I learned more, I got more and more excited about the opportunity with them, because they were doing something different than what I had seen in the market. I was very familiar already with outdoor lighting products and the players here, and it's very much, Harry and Sally and Joe making the same products, right? And just branding them under their own name. But at the end of the day, it's a very, very similar product. And
okay, so hold on a sec. Sorry, I'm going to back you up just a second. You said something that piqued my interest. Headhunter.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so how did that come about? Did you contact this guy, or did he contact you?
Yeah, he contacted me.
Or how did that work?
On LinkedIn.
He contacted you on LinkedIn?
Yeah, on LinkedIn. I had just, I had been with the company. I realized that I hadn't updated my resume with that company in a number of years since joining the 222 division, the far UVC stuff. And so once I put some of the accomplishments from that time in my career onto the resume and updated that, I applied to 50 something jobs on different websites, and maybe had 2 or 3 interviews from that.
I don't like how that's happening in nowadays. See, being a sole business owner for most of my adult career, you used to go in with a piece of paper with your credentials on it and talk to somebody.
Yeah.
But nowadays, you just go online and put in your stuff and hope that somebody might, and they're probably not going to call you. They're probably going to email you back.
Yeah. Right.
And
it's all fed through machines these days too. You apply to any corporate job, you better make sure that you're the soft part of your resume, so that your soft skills and things like that perfectly match. The nomenclature perfectly matches with the list of skills that they're looking for on the job application, because it's usually computers that go through the first round of reviewing a resume, and they're just looking for keywords. They're looking for keywords, and if you don't have the keywords, you get pushed to the edge of the pile before any real person looks at your resume.
Man, that's tough. That's really a tough gig. Yeah. Okay, so Headhunter, so you're on LinkedIn, you update your stuff. This guy is looking for certain credentials for this company InLight that's looking for somebody like you.
Yeah.
So he puts the jigsaw puzzle pieces together. Now, are you paying this guy, or is InLight paying this guy?
Yeah, so InLight then pays there should be done paying it. I believe it's only for my first year, but then they pay
for a whole year.
I believe so, yeah. I believe they pay them out for a full. It's a portion of my salary, a percentage of my salary that they get paid out, which is nice for me because then you got the headhunter trying to get you the highest salary possible.
Sure,
right?
Sure,
because it benefits
it's
them.
an incentive.
Yeah, exactly.
But now you can go back to Alex and say, "Hey, Alex, now that you're not paying that headhunter, you guys have this extra money in the budget. You could kick that over to Dr. Decks."
Oh yeah, there you go. That's right. I didn't think we were going that way, but that's a good point.
No, we weren't. I was just kidding. I was just kidding. But no, seriously, that's pretty cool. Okay, all right. So so now you got the headhunter.
Yeah.
You went through the interview process. You got the job. Now, were you working mostly with Alex? I know this person, Alex. I know Alex personally.
Yeah.
Wonderful gentleman. Loved him to death. Know the owner, also Jurgen of the company, and a lot of people, because actually I've been over to the Netherlands and toured the company, toured the mothership, I call it, and it's a great place to go visit, and it's a wonderful business to go be a part of and learn about, especially the playground, which we'll talk about in a little bit. But so tell me more. So then okay, so you're kind of out in the Wild West here.
Yeah.
What do they dump on you as far as like here's your first 10 things we want you to do, or what?
Yeah.
How did that work?
So it was first like we just changed around the territories a little bit, and we've recently hired some inside salespeople to help with that. But basically, I walked in and we drew a line in the sand halfway down the country. So basically everything west of the Dakotas and Colorado included, and basically Texas, everything west of Texas and north of it is under my responsibility, or was when I had first started.
And when was it that you first started? When was that?
It was very like the first week of February of 2024.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you've been there a little over a year.
Yeah, about a year and a half.
Year and a half.
At this point.
Okay, so man, I have so much going on in my head. I'm losing it. But okay. Oh, I was gonna ask. It's kind of important.
My roles and responsibilities.
Let's go ahead. Ahead and keep going with that. I'll figure. I'll remember what it was.
Sure. So basically, InLight is how we operate. What's essentially new to our business model, and something that's really key for our progression and our growth within this market is the utilization of distribution partners. So a lot of the times previously InLight was a direct kind of brand. You could just buy it online if you wanted it. But to help us really grow and become a little bit more organic and to grow with strong partners, whether that's on a national scale or a small regional scale, we need those guys to help us get in front of and reach out to professionals in the network. It becomes very difficult for me to provide the same level of service that I think InLight customers should receive when I've got 1,000 contractor customers versus 50 dealers, right? Those 50 dealers service 1,000 customers. They have a lot more bandwidth to do that, to do RMAs, returns, answer questions, things like that, where I'm just one guy. So me versus 1,000, 1,000's going to win every time.
Yeah,
but every 50 time. is a something. So if we look at that like a metaphor like that, or that kind of example, that's our direction. So that's a big shift for a lot of people that have been working with the InLight brand. So just getting people comfortable with that, helping them understand that they're getting a better deal through distribution, both from a service and a price standpoint. So that's a lot of what my job was. And then in our area, InLight is fairly newer, where InLight's been operating in North America for nearly 15 years, but it's predominantly in the Northeast, right, and in Canada.
Yeah.
where the company was based. So
That's okay. That's I remember my question now.
yeah.
We'll talk about a little bit about this now, but then to get the juicy stuff, you're gonna have to subscribe to our Patreon channel and go to our bonus episode to get the story, the backstory of what I'm about to ask you or talk to you about. And from what I know, because I was kind of stuck in the middle of this situation that came about. So I think I think the reason I'm talking to you today and that why we're affiliated, Ryan, is because there used to be this Canadian affiliate that was part of the InLight company that I used to deal with directly, and I'm not even going to say his name, but this and they were basically the InLight brand that was funneling product to the United States, correct?
That's right. They're the North American distributor.
North American distributor, but they're based in Ontario or somewhere up there in Canada.
Yeah.
Okay, and that's kind of who I got linked in with, and then through that gentleman, I actually had my own logo on one of your lights, your signature lights, for a while, which was really cool. I was really proud of that, and hopefully someday maybe we can bring that back. But that was then. Some really terrible things happened, and I think that's when I finally met Jurgen for the first time as one of the I think it was Deck Expo. Yeah. I think it was Deck Expo.
That or NADRA awards.
And I had been working with the Canadian guys for like 7 years, but then I actually met Jurgen and Jaap at the time, who is no longer with the company. They came because they thought they were going to have a booth at Deck Expo. And they came and there was no booth, no InLight booth at Deck Expo that year. And they were like, what is going on? And then come to find out that this guy really bamboozled InLight.
Yeah. And the market.
And yeah. And so I don't want to get into depth into that because that's a really good topic that we're going to talk about in our bonus episode. We talk about a lot more stuff, and we're going to talk about some numbers, some pricing, and things that might help the professional, but those are going to be all on our Patreon. So anyway, we still got some ways to go here, Ryan, so I just want to really keep you on the platform and talk a little bit more. So I think we talked a little bit about InLight, but is there a mission statement or something that goes along with not only what you're doing with the company, but like in general, like what's the company goal, or what's the idea behind the InLight brand, and where do you fit into all that?
Sure. I think, it's beyond just our mission statement, right? It would be trying to present, something different to the market. All right. I think the issue with outdoor lighting today is that, and I talked about it a little bit earlier, is that everybody's doing the same thing. There's no innovation in landscape lighting. If I look at, I've done this 10 years, right? Over 10 years now at this point that I've been in the lighting industry. And you see it all the time in constant technologies, whether it's LED bulbs or other things. Things always seem to be getting newer and better for the consumer. But landscape lighting hasn't improved by like the big manufacturers out here in the last 5 or 10 years. I think, everybody's become complacent because you have standard products that it's what people want because it's all they know. So there's a huge opportunity for us at InLight to introduce something different with a little bit of European flavor that's a little bit easier to use, that there's a huge market for. It's just getting the word out. So that's my biggest focus. That's my number one mission for the goal, or my number one mission for the company right now, is spread awareness more so than anything else.
That's why I'm part of the team too, because I can spread awareness quite a ways with what I'm doing. But of that one word you were talking about, the one word I would have to say that is the funnest thing about InLight is sway.
Yeah.
And if you don't know what I'm talking about, maybe go through some of our social media pages, maybe our YouTube channel or our Instagram page, and maybe hashtag SWAY or hashtag InLight Sway, And you'll see what I'm talking about. They're these fun lights that you can put at different elevations because they have these 3 different lengths of sticks. And then then you have the option of putting a small head or a big head to like make it really whimsical. So these sway lights are really cool. And I at first I didn't get it. But know what I'm thinking about doing now? I have some of those tabletop sways.
Oh, yeah.
I'm thinking about putting a tall extension on one just for fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just so the thing really, like, it'll probably knock over. Maybe we'll go with the medium, you know.
Right.
But and then also those discs, which we still have to finish our order up for our residents. Yes. But the disc is also just, man, it's such a cool new innovative fun. Like you said, you want to put the fun. Okay, so I'm getting ahead of myself just a little bit, but what I really want to say is InLight. I knew InLight for one thing only at the beginning of my career, or not my career, at the beginning of my relationship with InLight, was the Fusion 22. The 22. Like 22, why do they call it a 22? Oh, they're European. It's 22 millimeters. Right. Oh, so they have a Fusion that's a 60 millimeter light, but then they've got a Fusion 22, which 22 millimeters happens to be close to 3/4, 7/8, something like that, somewhere in there. Yeah. Off the top of my head, I really don't know because I bought all these 22 millimeter bits from you guys because that's the one we need to cut that light in perfect. And I bought a couple other Amazon cheapies. If I know I might be hitting a nail, I'm not pulling out the really nice Forstner bits that I buy from you guys. I pull out a $12 bit that I don't mind so much if I trash. Because I've actually done it, pulled a brand new bit out of the pack, first hole, wham, hit a screw behind the fascia board. I'm like, oh, man. And bit's toast. Mm-hmm. You know, they're not really meant for metal.
No, no, they're not.
Not really meant for metal.
We got diamond head ones for that.
Oh, like, hey, wait a minute. New to me. Let's go. I got to get some of those. Yeah. So just for our listeners, before we get too late into this episode, so Ryan works for a company that does landscape lighting, but they also have a couple lights that I really like using on my decks. Mm-hmm. So where I was coming from was I was sick and tired of putting in lights from other companies that kept failing. Yeah. I was going back and warranting these lights, and I'm not going to say a bunch of names right now, but basically everything I tried had a problem. Especially these ones from Clubhouse, man. These ones from Clubhouse just were a massive failure. And I was so upset that every time I'd go back, finally when I got a hold of some InLights, and they had a 5-year warranty, and this is 10 years ago or whatever, 7, 8 years ago. I'm like, well, man, let's use these. I don't care how much they cost. I don't want to have to come back here because it costs me more money to come back for a service call in a day of warranting 20 lights that I charge, $2,000 to put in, $100 a piece or whatever. Oh man, I was like toasted. And even the client's like, hey, can I give you some money? You're like, I know you're into this. I'm like, no, I feel like I owe you this, Right. And so anyways, so I initially was all in with you guys just for one 22 millimeter light. Mm-hmm. For many years, that's all I would buy. And then I went to your playground in the Netherlands, and I was like, holy crap. Right. Where have I been? And then they're like, well, Jason, we love the fact that you're doing this with our product, but we really want you to, here, we're going to give you some stuff just to stick in the yard and walk away from it and tell us what the client says. So I did that a couple times, and I ended up selling additional lighting. Then this last 6-month build, the client just was all in with us. And she allowed us to do a full landscape lighting, and now I'm kind of sold. Like, now I understand completely what I need to do and how things should be done. It is a simple system. You have multiple lights. There's so much I can't talk about it all right now. But I ordered extra of everything so I could see what it looked like at night. I could see what it would cast, so I could understand how it all worked. Yeah. So. Anyway,
It's good stuff, and it just goes to show. I mean, to go from not really doing much landscape lighting, previously, to maybe like throwing a few lights in a yard and then walking away to what you had just completed. I mean, if you'd seen, the listeners really need to check out your latest Instagram post with that project you're referring to, because
yeah.
it's one of the best I've seen, right? So it's a
Ah.
really kudos to you for nobody would believe you if you said that's the first job that you've done of that size, as far as the landscape side.
I hope I made the mothership proud.
Yeah.
But this is one of the coolest things about InLight, is if you have a good rep like you, or whoever their rep would be, or if you just have an email chain, to be able to get with the lab. Explain to everybody what the lab is.
So the lab is the team that produces this orange book, or this book, right? And this is just an example of projects, that the team has done in the past. For example, like if I hold this up, we got, without lighting a yard, like this is like how you would see your yard without any lighting, and this is what happens to it once the lab team gets involved.
Yeah.
Right. Kind of a thing. So the lab team that puts this together and has helped, you directly with the planning of the projects, is an in-house team of designers, experts in outdoor lighting applications and landscape applications. So they really know their stuff when it comes to the right products to use for the right foliage, trees, the shape of it, and everything else. And their services are free. So if you yourself are a professional, if you've got, if you just maybe install holiday lights, or you maybe just do decks, or you maybe just do pavers, whatever it is, you don't really touch lighting because, oh gosh, do I need to be an electrician? Do I, how do I even start? We're the perfect brand to start with, because we make it very easy. We can talk about how easy those connections are and just power them, and you don't need to splice anything, but we can do the designs too. So we can, and you've seen them, Jason, so we can turn around this PDF that is not only something you can hand to a customer and provides value, it makes something that is like very much in theory or just an idea very tangible, because you can see, the property, you can see where the lights would be, helps you imagine it, and it does nice details, examples of the products that we recommend, and specifically what it's doing for that space. And then we do a cable plan with that too. Once we hear back from you saying, yes, this looks good, this is what I want to present to the client, then we'll do a cable plan for you and say, this is how you need to run your cable lines, this is what fixtures you need to connect to each line. It's a blueprint that you could give. You have a team of guys you could give to your greenest guy, somebody who's been with you a week, and say, here, install the lights, follow this plan, and they'll do it perfectly.
Yeah, and it's just a cool way to have that. So what I ended up doing was I went to mysiteplan.com and I paid $129, and I had them send me an exact site plan of the property. And then I took my drone and I shot aerials of the property to let the lab really understand what was cracking on this job. And then I think having those two things made this landscape lighting really incredible, because it gave them ammunition. So they had some bullets in the chamber, so when their creativity got going, they could go back and reflect on these drone shots and the plot plan map and go, okay. And then I think I even sent them a copy of the deck design, of my 3D renderings and whatnot. So anyway, between all that, the lab was incredible. Everybody was on point. Those color changing lights are amazing. You guys got the flex tones and the app. So you know what? I got so much more, Ryan, that we're going to talk about, but we're going to cut it right here.
Okay.
Ryan Guidry from InLight.
Yeah.
Thank you so very much for being on our podcast. I appreciate you, man. Like, this was really solid information. We're just getting started. Jump over to our Patreon, subscribe, guys, and let's finish the conversation over there. But Ryan, thanks a lot. Appreciate you, man. All right, guys.
Thanks,
everybody. All right, Calvin, hit that music, and we will see you on the next one. All right, guys, have a good one. Over and out.